Liberation Day.
Liberation Day.
This is the beginning of Liberation Day. We're going to charge countries for doing business in our country. We're in the process of imposing reciprocal tariffs. Friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. That money's going to be coming back to us in the form of tariffs. The most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff.
So today is April the 2nd, 2025, and the Trump administration is calling today Liberation Day. But for the leaders in the Caribbean, this is more like doomsday. So today, as I said, April 2nd, 2025 is when Donald Trump decided to launch a trade war on the entire world. So today is America against the world. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be focusing on the Caribbean. So with the recent CARICOM heads of government meeting that was held in Barbados and the recent visit of Secretary of State Marco Rubio to Jamaica, Trinidad and Guyana, we have a clear idea of what CARICOM would be worried about today. So today I'm going to list the three main things that the Caribbean leaders are looking out for today that could completely change the entire Caribbean for 2025. And we could see, I know the Caribbean is one of the most expensive regions, and food in the Caribbean, in terms of food security, food prices, it is a big problem. And what the Caribbean leaders are looking out for today is what is coming out, the tariffs that are coming out of the Trump administration that could impact the Caribbean in a negative way and could see food price with another 25 to 30% on it. So the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Mottley, she had her concern going into today. Our main concern is about the ships coming into the Caribbean, especially from China, and Donald Trump, the threat to put tariff on ships, goods coming into the Caribbean from China. So this is what Mia Mottley had to say.
In a very real sense, is the engine of commerce of the Caribbean region. Caribbean depends on much 7-day supply of food, 7-day supply of vegetables, of critical supplies, of pieces of equipment, spare parts, all kinds of things. And that to have this disrupted purely because of the intervention of a statutory or an executive order that will lead to increased costs of supply will hurt not just us on the receiving end, but will hurt those as well who are making money from the logistics in Florida to be able to make the transition. Because the cost per container, TEU, 20-foot container or equivalent, can go, we believe, anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 US, and for 40-foot container up to at least $4,000 US. It is also, by the way, assessed on exports. And those who are exporting from our region will now have to face the reality of having to pay more before, or their customers who are buying from them having to pay more purely because of this particular cess and not because of any costs related to production or indeed to being able to source the raw materials for it. I hope that we will resolve it.
Okay, so that was the Prime Minister of Barbados, the most Honorable Mia Mottley. And this is one thing that all the leaders in the Caribbean can agree on. A 25% increase in shipping goods to the Caribbean would be devastated for the Caribbean, because in CARICOM, the heads of CARICOM meeting earlier in Barbados this year, one of the main items was about food security and food costs, and a 25% increase on shipping things to the Caribbean would be catastrophic for the entire region. And I recently came back from Jamaica. I visited Barbados and St. Vincent last year. And one thing I would say is that most of the food that I see on the supermarket shelf anywhere in the Caribbean is not made in the Caribbean. They are shipped, whether it's from America, whether it's from South America, or stuff from China. But over 65%, I would say, and it could even be higher than that, is not from the Caribbean. And even one of the things that was a bit disappointed for me last year when I was in Barbados and St. Vincent is the amount of fruits, American fruits, that I saw in the markets, not only in the supermarket, but when you go like Swan Street in Barbados, when you go Kingstown in St. Vincent, and you see mostly American fruits in the markets and in the supermarket, it is something that needs to be addressed. And I believe that the Caribbean is going to face some tough times in 2025, but the leaders have to come together and address this food security, because in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, the Caribbean produced way more food, and we did not rely on America as much as we do today. So that is something that we're going to be watching today, the 25% tariff on ship coming into the Caribbean, and we're going to be looking out for that and to see what becomes of that today, because as I said, that would not be good for the Caribbean. And the next thing that was on the agenda, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, brought up the concern that the Caribbean community has about the Caribbean Basin Initiative. The Caribbean Basin Initiative has been around for decades. It's been around, it was implemented, I think, by President Reagan in 1983. And the Caribbean Basin Initiative, it helps with foreign exchange for the Caribbean. It's very critical in terms of foreign exchange, in terms of jobs, local jobs for, in particular, farmers in the Caribbean and local manufacturing in the Caribbean. And it offers like tax-free incentive on certain products going into the United States of America. So that has been a big part of the benefit from America to the Caribbean. And that is a major concern that CARICOM has. So this is what Dr. Andrew Holness had to say about the Caribbean Basin Initiative.
On trade, recognizing the United States as Jamaica's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade surpassing $3 billion in 2023, we explored avenues to further expand trade relations between our two countries. The renewal of the Caribbean Basin Economic Recovery Act was raised as a matter of critical importance to trade for ourselves and for all CARICOM member states.
Here at Carib 21, I'm on a mission to showcase the vibrant culture and the breathtaking beauty of the Caribbean while showcasing our culture and what is trending. If you want to support me on this mission, please subscribe. And if you also want to support, you can hit the comment section and buy me a cup of coffee. In order to buy me a cup of coffee, you can follow these instructions. Just click more. You will see the link to buy me a cup of coffee. Click the link. You can purchase 1 or 2 cups of coffee, and you'll be helping me to fulfill this mission. Thank you. Okay, so that was the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, addressing the concerns that the Caribbean community have about the Caribbean Basin Initiative. And as I said, the Caribbean Basin Initiative has been around for a very long time. And in particular, Jamaica is one of the islands that benefited from it big time. Because of the vibrant Jamaican population in places like Florida, in places like New York, local Jamaican farmers and Jamaican producers are able to export goods to the United States of America at a fraction of what they would normally pay because of the Caribbean Basin Initiative. And that provides jobs in Jamaica, and it also provides foreign exchange along with tourism, because export and tourism, along with remittance, that is how Jamaica were able to account for foreign exchange. And that is something that I'm looking out for today, to see if Donald Trump, the Trump administration, if they're going to keep their word and they're not going to touch that. So we're looking at the tariffs on ships coming into the Caribbean. We're looking at the Caribbean Basin Initiative. And another thing that I will be looking out for today is reciprocal tariff, because I know this might be something for the bigger countries like Canada, Mexico, and China. But knowing Donald Trump, I would not be surprised. And I know that Jamaica has a a 250% tariff on chicken coming out of America into Jamaica. And the reason for that is because the two main chicken suppliers in Jamaica that's been there for decades that provide good paying jobs for Jamaicans, that was in place. The government said that they put that in place to protect those chicken producers in Jamaica. And because the idea of cheap chicken flooding the Jamaican market would completely destroy those two main companies in Jamaica. So that is something that I also will be looking out for. But the two main ones are pretty much the tariff on the ships coming into the Caribbean and the Caribbean Basin Initiative. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen today at 4 o'clock? Do you think Donald Trump is going to go nuclear on the Caribbean and the entire world? What is going to happen? And this today could be like one of the worst days that we have seen in a long time. Today could be like really bad. We could, if the markets were pretty much volatile for the past couple of months, the market could pretty much collapse today. So sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.